trainer here at HumbleCrossFit, and today I have our head trainer with us, Francisco Salgado. This past week, we have some things that we need to talk about. This past week, we did a lot of work on the bar. Lots of people got their muscle ups, a lot of people are getting their first skipping pull-ups, but everyone's hands in the gym are torn up. Everyone's coming in saying, my hands are bleeding, my hands are cracked. So we have some things that we want to talk about, some things that we wanted to pass on to our members, so you can go ahead and refer to it back at a later date, and maybe some people who aren't members can get some valuable information. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and talk about is actual hand maintenance.
Yeah, so as far as hand maintenance, you guys want to make sure that, number one, anytime that you start getting these little bitty calluses, you don't go and you start shaving them off. Anything as far as the little skin tags, don't go and start clipping them off right away. You just want to kind of tough it out for a little bit.
Right. We took a gymnastics course with Olympian Jonathan Horton. That was a question that came up. We were on the bar all day doing handstands. We asked, man, like, what do you do? How do you keep your hands from ripping? And he just looked at us and said, nothing. Do you shave your hands down? We're like, well, yeah, of course. I said, stop. Don't do that. That's wrong. Like, you have to tough it out. He said that, I think, the past 8 years, he'd only ripped one time, which is crazy because we come into the gym and we're constantly told, like, file your hands down, shave them down, make them smooth so they don't get hung on anything, and apparently that's incorrect. As long as you tough it out, your hands will get to the point where they just stop tearing. Now, like Francisco was saying, if you start to get a little tag, tough it out for a little while, but once it gets to the point where it may start pulling, it's okay to trim it down, but as far as filing your hands down daily, it's not really something you want to do because that makes your hands lose the integrity that you've built up within the gym.
Yeah, so all those built up calluses, that you've been building on, you're just getting rid of it, and then you're creating new chances to start ripping once again.
So basically, you're losing your layer of protection. The next thing we want to talk about is the chalk. Chalk is a great tool at the gym. Keeps your hands dry, keeps you from slipping on the bar, but it's also, it does what it's supposed to. It's very dry. So as soon as you get done using the chalk, you want to make sure your hands are washed, because if your hands are really dry, you have a higher chance of your hands cracking, especially if you don't need the chalk throughout the rest of your day. Most of us leave, we go home, we eat dinner. You should wash your hands right after you get done using the chalk. There's no reason to keep it on there. You're just creating more problems for yourself. And also there's some preferences on chalk. Here we like to use a really fine powder. It tends to absorb well in your hands, so it absorbs the sweat instead of creating a barrier. The chalk that's really rough, that almost feels like sidewalk chalk, it's very gritty. It's great for gripping the bar, and it's great again for absorbing the sweat, but it creates a lot of friction on your hands. And that's all preference. We have no scientific studies saying the powder chalk is better for you than the dry chalk. It's all preference, and that's what me and Francisco like to see.
And also just remember, don't overdo it with the chalk either. I mean, and not just because you're wasting chalk, but there's really no need to go ahead and start making mud pies with chalk in your hands.
Handprints on the walls and on the floors.
Yeah, doing the LeBron James.
All right, and the next thing that a lot of people don't realize that they're doing is they're gripping the bar incorrectly.
Yeah, so as far as bar grip, you guys want to remember that when you go to grab the bar, you want to go in the most natural sense possible, which would be knuckles faced up, all right? Some people, when they try to grab on there, especially for the first time, what they tend to do is they'll try to overcompensate by grabbing and facing their knuckles forward, all right? When you do that, you start grabbing this little bitty flap, and it starts pushing your knuckles, the calluses that you're starting to build up. You start pushing those up, and with that, when you start torquing down on the bar, you start creating more friction, so now you're increasing the chances of ripping your hands again.
So basically, when you grip the bar with your hands forward, creates pressure that comes up here, creates a little fold, little flap. If you grip it where your knuckles are up, sorry, we have a visitor, this is Bitsy, she's trying to say hello. If you grip the bar up, that reduces the fold, reduces the area where your hands are gonna contact the bar and almost fold over on themselves. Now, taking into account the hand maintenance, the chalk, the bar grip, there are some other things that you have to take into consideration. For example, if you're a nurse or if you're a bartender and your hands are constantly wet and you're constantly using hand sanitizer, it's just gonna take a little longer for your hands to build up that strength to not rip and tear. It's just an unfortunate name of the game. The people who may sit at a desk and work on a computer all day, or the people who may be out making deliveries, their hands aren't being washed every time they see a patient, or their hands aren't constantly in ice and in water and being wet, constantly wet, dry with alcohol. They're gonna have a harder time just because your hands are, like I said, they're drying out, they're being moist. it's a lot in your hands. So with those people, don't give up. Don't go shaving your hands down thinking that this is the only way to make it better. It's just gonna take more time, and that's what it comes down to, is time. There are gonna be times where you rip. That's just the name of the game. Your hands are contacting a metal surface. You're moving around. They're gonna rip. It's gonna happen. You just have to tough it out. Let them heal. If you feel your hands starting to tear, take a break. Jump down. It's okay. Say, hey, my hands can't take it today. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna do something on the floor instead.
Yeah, and just remember, you know, it definitely doesn't hurt to lotion and moisturize your hands all throughout the day. It's not gonna hurt. You really want to keep those hands moisturized. And yeah, I mean, so just remember, just because you rip, or you know, you're trying to prevent yourself from ripping, don't go shaving stuff down. Don't go start taking fingernail clippers. Don't go buying those crazy kits that you see, you know, in wad boxes and whatnot. You know, I mean, like, yeah, it has its place, but when you're trying to build up your endurance and, you know, toughen up your hands, just tough it out, like Charlie said.
And also, in the event that you do rip, go ahead, stop. There's no point in letting your hands have blood running down and blood getting all over the bar, blood getting all over the floor. Go ahead, stop. Go wash your hands with warm soapy water, get all of the chalk out. It's gonna burn, it's gonna hurt. Sorry, there's an airplane. You may be able to hear it, you may not be able to. Your hands are gonna burn, it's gonna hurt. So just go ahead, wash it, tough it out, clean up your mess. If you bled everywhere, no one wants to put their broken hands in your bloody hands. Clean up your mess. Our favorite is A&D. We just pack it with A&D, cover it. If you have any skin that's hanging off, let it dry before you go trying to pull it off. You're saving yourself some pain, you're saving your hands some pain, letting your hands use that extra layer of protection. So yeah, clean your hands, protect your hands with A&D.
A&D, magic.
Leave them alone for a few days. But I think that's all the tips we have. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, email us. Hit Charlie up on Humble Effect on her YouTube channel. You know, reach out to us. Anything you guys have any questions about, we're more than willing to reach it back out to you.
Yeah, and if there's any other videos or any other topics that you'd like to see, be sure to let us know. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, my name is Charlie. I'm a trainer here at HumbleCrossFit. Today we have our head trainer with us.
Francisco. You said
This sounds like you're recording a voicemail.
you